Let me tell you something that most folks will never talk about. It's not because they don't know. It's because they're too ashamed or they think no one would listen. But I've lived long enough to learn that the smallest things often carry the biggest truths. And this one truth I'm about to share with you might just change how you or your loved ones age with dignity. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've smelled it with my own nose. That lingering scent that clings to the clothes, the furniture, the very walls of a home where an old soul lives. People call it old person smell. I don't like that phrase. It sounds disrespectful, but I understand why they say it. It's musty, sour, sometimes sweet in a way that isn't pleasant. It creeps in slowly, day by day, until it becomes part of the air. But here's the part that no one ever tells you. That smell isn't just part of getting old. It's a warning, a quiet sign. And I've found that in nearly all the cases I've come across, it can be almost completely erased in just 3 days. 99% gone, all by cleaning one area that most folks ignore their entire lives. Now, before you think this is about washing clothes more or buying some fancy spray from the store, let me stop you there. I've tried all that too. I've lived with elderly parents. I've visited nursing homes. I've cared for neighbors and friends in their final years. I've opened windows, scrubbed floors, changed sheets. Nothing really worked. The smell would still find a way to come back. And then one day, out of frustration, more than curiosity, I tried something different. I got to cleaning one of the most overlooked places on the human body. And I don't mean just rinsing it with a bit of water. I mean really cleaning it. Gently, thoroughly, daily. And just like that, something changed. The air changed. The person changed. I could breathe again. They could breathe again. That one place, that secret place, is the area behind the ears and along the neck creases. That's it. I know it sounds too simple to be true, but hear me out. Behind the ears and around the neck, especially in older folks, becomes a hidden trap for natural oils, sweat, dead skin, and sebum. As we age, our skin changes. It becomes thinner, drier in some places and oilier in others. The body's natural process of shedding dead skin slows down. Add to that the fact that many elderly people aren't able to wash as thoroughly due to limited movement, sensitive skin, or just being tired all the time. And so, over time, this specific area becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and build-up oils that create that distinct, hard-to-ignore smell. You don't notice it in your youth because your body's always turning over new skin. But after 70 or 80 years, the story is different. Let me tell you about my Uncle Ray. He was one of the most decent, gentle men I've ever known. But after he turned 80, something changed. His home always smelled like old newspapers and something else I couldn't describe. I'd visit and feel like I was walking through dust. His clothes were clean, his sheets fresh, but the smell lingered. One afternoon, as I helped him with his shave, I wiped behind his ears with a warm cloth. And I saw it. A dark film came off. I did it again the next day, then the next. By the third day, the air in his room was completely different. His daughter came by and asked if I'd sprayed something new. I just smiled. I didn't say a word. She hugged him tighter that day. I've shared this discovery with caregivers, with fellow seniors, with the children of aging parents. And every single time, the results are the same. You clean that area daily, gently with a warm washcloth and maybe a mild soap. Nothing fancy. No perfumes or strong chemicals. Just simple care, and the smell starts to fade. It doesn't just mask the odor, it removes the source. Because what you're really doing is helping the skin do what it no longer can do on its own. You're removing the layers of forgotten time, of neglect that isn't intentional but happens quietly, slowly. There's emotion in this too. Let me tell you why. When an elderly person starts to smell, people treat them differently. They might not say it out loud, but they'll hesitate to hug them. They'll keep visits short. And the old soul, even if they can't quite explain it, they feel it. They sense the distance. They start to feel like a burden, like they're being tolerated instead of loved. That does something to a person. It shrinks their world. It dulls their light. I've seen proud men grow quiet. I've seen once cheerful grandmothers stop asking for company. And it breaks my heart because no one tells them the truth. No one tells them that it might just be a patch of skin behind their ear that's holding them back from being embraced again. It doesn't take much. A bit of warm water, a soft towel, a hand willing to reach out with kindness. It's not glamorous work, but it's sacred. You're not just cleaning skin, you're cleaning memory. You're cleaning the space between people. You're giving back a part of someone's dignity that they thought was lost forever. I remember a woman named Dolores. She was in a small care home, and she kept to herself. Folks would drop off her food and rush away. I offered to help one day, and after some gentle conversation, I helped her wash. When I got to behind her ears, I felt the residue. It took some time, but I was careful. After 3 days, the staff started spending more time with her. They didn't know why, but something felt different. Dolores smiled more. Her eyes looked alive. That tiny act brought her back to life in a way no medicine ever could. And that's why I'm telling you now, not to shock you, not to sell you anything, just to pass on what I've learned the hard way. We think aging is all about the big things, the heart, the joints, the memory. But sometimes it's the smallest places that hold the biggest power. Behind the ears, along the neck folds. Those quiet corners we forget. If you're caring for someone who's older, or if you're aging yourself, I urge you to try it. Don't wait for the smell to take root. Start now. Make it part of your daily care. It only takes 2 minutes, and in return you get something priceless. You get closeness, connection, pride. You get to be seen again, not as someone fading away, but as someone still very much here. This isn't magic. It's not a secret because it's hidden. It's a secret because no one ever thought to share it, until now. So from one old soul to another, take this truth with you, use it, share it, and never underestimate the power of a little care in the right place. The smell that we've come to accept as part of old age doesn't have to be. 99% of it can be gone in just 3 days, not with sprays or pills, but with a cloth, with water, with love. Now go on and check behind your ears. Or better yet, help someone check behind theirs. You might just be the reason their world feels a little brighter, a little cleaner, a little more full of life. And if you forget everything else I've said here today, remember this: aging isn't about falling apart. It's about holding on to what matters, to who we are. And sometimes all it takes is a little wipe behind the ear to remind us that we're still worth holding on to. Now let's clear some common questions. Could this overlooked practice change the way we think about aging, elder care, and the kind of respect and intimacy older adults deserve? I've been around the block more times than I can count, and in all those years, I've seen a lot of things change, and a lot of things stay stubbornly the same. Aging, for many folks, is a subject wrapped in whispers and awkward silences. We tiptoe around it, afraid to face the reality of what it means to grow old. But I want to talk about something simple, something so overlooked it almost seems invisible, yet it has the power to shift how we think about aging, about care, and about the respect and intimacy that every older person deserves. This overlooked practice, as I've learned through my own eyes and hands, is the careful and consistent cleaning of those secret little places on the body, places like behind the ears and the folds of the neck. You might wonder how something so small could carry such weight, but let me tell you, it carries more than just dirt. It carries dignity. You see, aging is often seen as a slow slide toward invisibility. Society and sometimes even families begin to treat the elderly like ghosts. There, but not quite present. Part of this, I believe, is tied to how we perceive and handle the signs of aging that are harder to ignore. One of those signs is smell, the musty, lingering odor that somehow clings to old skin and old clothes. For years, this smell was accepted as just part of growing old. I heard people say it was natural, unavoidable, but what I have found is that it isn't nature's doing it all. It's neglect. Not cruel neglect, but the kind that slips in quietly when no one has the time, the patience, or the knowledge to care for these hidden places properly. This simple act of cleaning behind the ears and along the neck folds, something most of us never think about, can erase nearly all that stubborn smell in just a few days. Imagine that. 99% gone in 3 days just by giving attention to those secret areas. But this practice is more than just about hygiene. It's about reclaiming respect for those who have given us so much in their lifetime. When we make the effort to care for these quiet corners of the body, we're saying that the person beneath the wrinkles and the frailty is still worthy of close contact, still worthy of being held, hugged, and spoken to without hesitation. I have witnessed what happens when this care is neglected. When the smell builds up and clings, the distance between people grows. Family members hesitate to get too close. Visitors stay away longer than they should. The elderly person begins to sense this distance. It's in the way people avoid eye contact or shorten their visits. It's in the silence that fills the room where once laughter lived. This kind of unintentional rejection eats away at the soul. It chips at the very core of who a person is. And that, my friend, is far worse than any physical ailment. When I started paying attention to this overlooked practice, I saw something remarkable happen not just in the smell, but in the spirit of those I cared for. They smiled more. They spoke more freely. Their eyes lit up with a spark that I hadn't seen in months. The act of gentle cleaning behind the ears became a ritual of connection. It was a way to bridge the gap that time and circumstance had created. Caregivers told me that after just a few days of focusing on these areas, their charges seemed more willing to engage. They no longer shied away from touch or conversation. That simple act restored intimacy between people who had started to drift apart. Respect, you see, is tied up in these small moments of care. When we clean with intention, when we hold a warm cloth to someone's skin with kindness, we are saying, "You matter." It's a quiet declaration that the years lived are not forgotten. The stories told, the lessons shared, the laughter and tears that filled a lifetime are still worthy of honor. And intimacy, real intimacy, thrives in this respect. It grows from trust, from the gentle hands that do the hard work without complaint or rush. This intimacy is not just physical touch. It's the closeness that comes when someone looks you in the eye and treats you as a whole person, not just a body that is aging or a task to be managed. This practice also changes how we think about elder care. Too often, care becomes a checklist of chores done in a hurry. Meals served, medications given, rooms cleaned. But where is the attention to the details that make a person feel truly cared for? When we miss these hidden places, we miss the chance to offer something deeper. We miss the chance to say that growing old does not mean becoming less human. By incorporating this simple cleaning routine, caregivers can transform their work from a job to a calling. They can offer dignity and respect that transcends the physical needs and touches the heart. And let me tell you, this isn't just about caregivers. Families can do this too. Sons, daughters, grandchildren. They can learn this practice and use it as a way to reconnect with their aging loved ones. I've seen grown children who once dreaded visits find themselves looking forward to them again because they discovered how meaningful this act of care can be. It becomes a way to say thank you without words, a way to show love that is as practical as it is profound. There's also a lesson here for society as a whole. We have to change how we view aging. It's not a decline to be feared or hidden away. It's a stage of life deserving of celebration, respect, and attention. When we start paying attention to the small things, the overlooked practices, we open the door to a broader shift. We begin to see older adults as individuals with histories, desires, and feelings that still matter deeply. We start to understand that aging does not diminish worth, but rather adds layers of experience and wisdom that enrich us all. This small act of cleaning secret areas is a metaphor for what we owe each other as humans. It teaches patience. It teaches humility. It teaches us that care is not just about the big gestures, but the quiet, consistent acts done with love. It reminds us that every person, no matter their age or condition, deserves to be seen, touched, and embraced with dignity. So could this overlooked practice change the way we think about aging and elder care? I say it already has. Every time someone chooses to clean behind the ears with care, every time a caregiver makes that a priority, the world shifts a little. The walls between generations come down. Respect is renewed. Intimacy is restored. And perhaps most importantly, the person who has lived a long life feels seen again, not just as an old body, but as a soul still worthy of love. I urge you to remember this. When you see an older person, think about those hidden places. Think about what it means to care for them fully and gently. And when you act on it, you're doing more than cleaning skin. You're clearing the air for new connections, new respect, and a renewed understanding of what it means to grow old with grace. This simple practice may seem small, but its impact is vast. It can change the story of aging from one of loss to one of love. And that, my friend, is a story worth telling. What would the world look like if every elderly person received the same attentive care in these hidden places of the body? And how might that change how we perceive aging itself? If I were to paint a picture of the world as I have lived it and as it could be, I would say this. Imagine a place where every elderly person receives care that goes beyond the obvious. Care that reaches those quiet, hidden places on the body, behind the ears, along the neck folds. Spots that are often overlooked but carry so much weight in the story of aging. I've seen what happens when these places are ignored. I've also seen what unfolds when they are tended to with patience and love. If every elderly soul were to receive this kind of attentive care, the world itself would change. Not in big, flashy ways, but in the gentle, profound shifts that touch the heart of what it means to grow old and be cared for. First, let me tell you what I have witnessed over many years. The elderly are often forgotten in these small acts of care. Their skin, their comfort, their dignity, these things slip through the cracks because people don't realize the importance of the details. They might wash the face, brush the hair, change the clothes, but the hidden corners, those secret places where sweat, oils, and dead skin quietly gather, are left untouched. This neglect isn't born from malice. It comes from lack of time, knowledge, or simply the busyness of life. But it does more damage than most understand. The smell that builds up in these places becomes a barrier between the old person and the world. It pushes people away, creates distance, and deepens the loneliness many seniors already feel. Now imagine if that changed. Imagine caregivers, family members, and friends all knowing the importance of these hidden places. Imagine it becoming a natural part of the daily routine to gently clean behind the ears, to care for the neck folds with kindness. Imagine a world where no elderly person wakes up feeling isolated because of something as simple as neglected skin. This small change would ripple outward, affecting more than just hygiene. It would restore connection. When an elderly person smells fresh, when their skin feels cared for in those intimate places, something shifts in the way they see themselves and in the way others see them. They become more approachable. Their smiles become easier. Their conversations flow more freely. The air in the room changes, and so does the atmosphere of the home or care facility. There is less hesitation to touch, less awkwardness in visits. People lean in closer instead of stepping back. That closeness is the foundation of respect and intimacy. It is what all humans crave, no matter their age. I recall a time when I helped an old friend named Martha. She was once a vibrant woman, full of stories and laughter. But as she aged, visits from her family became infrequent. They said it was hard to be around her because of the smell that clung to her skin and clothes. No one had told her about these hidden places or how to care for them. When I started helping her gently clean behind her ears and along her neck folds, something remarkable happened. Within 3 days, the smell was nearly gone. More importantly, Martha's spirits lifted. Her daughter began to visit more often, even bringing grandchildren along. The house filled with life again. That small act of care restored a family bond that had been fraying. Now think broader. What if every elderly person in every community, every home, every care center received this level of care? The impact would be transformative. Aging would no longer be something people shy away from or fear because of its associated discomforts and stigmas. Instead, it would become a stage of life where respect is visible in the details. When a person's skin is cared for thoroughly, it shows that they matter. It says to the world, this person deserves closeness. They deserve touch. They deserve love. And that message changes how we think about aging itself. We often imagine aging as a slow loss of strength, of beauty, of usefulness. But what if we shifted that narrative to one of continued value and presence? When we care deeply for the hidden places, we are caring for the whole person. We are reminding ourselves that aging is not about disappearing quietly into the background. It is about staying visible, staying connected. It is about dignity. This change would also ripple into the hearts of caregivers and families. Caregiving is often exhausting and thankless work. But when caregivers see that a small act of focused attention can bring joy and closeness back into a person's life, it recharges their spirit. It reminds them why they chose this path. It makes their work meaningful beyond routine chores. It creates a cycle of love and care that uplifts everyone involved. Imagine nursing homes where staff are trained not just to assist with meals and medications, but to attend to these hidden places every day. Imagine families who no longer dread visits because they know how to help their loved ones feel fresh and comfortable. Imagine elderly people who wake up every morning feeling clean and valued, not isolated and forgotten. The quality of life would improve dramatically. The stigma surrounding aging would start to fade because respect would be woven into every interaction. Moreover, this attentive care could change the very way society views aging. Too often, older adults are pushed to the margins. They become invisible in public spaces, their voices unheard. But when we acknowledge that something as simple as cleaning behind the ears can restore dignity and intimacy, we are forced to rethink the entire narrative. Aging stops being a problem to manage and becomes a natural, respected part of life's journey. In a world where every elderly person receives this kind of care, there would be more empathy, more patience, more understanding. Younger generations would grow up seeing their elders as people worthy of love and attention, not burdens to be hidden away. This would create stronger families, stronger communities, and a society that values wisdom and experience. And let me tell you, this world isn't just a dream. I've seen glimpses of it when people take the time to care deeply and intentionally. The changes aren't always loud or dramatic, but they are real and lasting. The smell fades, yes, but more importantly, the walls between people come down. People smile again. They reach out, they share stories, they touch each other without fear or hesitation. So I urge you to consider this. What if caring for those hidden places became a symbol of how we care for aging itself? What if every touch behind the ear, every gentle wipe along the neck folds was an act of honor? What if it reminded us all that to age is to continue to deserve love, respect, and intimacy? The world would be kinder, the air would be sweeter, and the hearts of the old would feel lighter. That is the power of this overlooked practice. It might seem small, but it carries a giant truth, that we are all worthy of care, no matter how many years have passed. And as someone who has walked this path for many decades, I can say this with certainty. Paying attention to those hidden places on the body can open up hidden places in our hearts. It can teach us to see aging not as an ending, but as a continuing story filled with love, respect, and connection. That world is within reach. All it takes is the willingness to care just a little deeper and look a little closer. In that world, every elderly person knows they are still here, still loved, still valuable. And that, my friend, changes everything. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So until next time, take care.